Hello, everybody. This is Kim. We are on Exodus 36. We're going to be finishing up this book today, and thank you for joining me for this read. All the other craftsmen with God given abilities are to assist Bezalel and Oholiab in constructing and furnishing the tabernacle. So Moses told Bezalel and Oholiab and all others who felt called to work to begin. Moses gave them the materials donated by the people, and additional gifts were received each morning. But finally, the workmen all left their task to meet with Moses and told him, "We have more than enough materials on hand now to complete the job." So Moses sent a message throughout the camp announcing that no more donations were needed. Then at last the people were restrained from bringing more. The skilled weavers first made 10 sheets from fine linen, then embroidered into them blue, purple, and scarlet guardian angels. Each sheet was 42 feet long and 6 feet wide. 5 of these sheets were attached end to end, then 5 others similarly attached, forming 2 long roof sheets. 50 blue ribbons were looped along the edges of these 2 long sheets, each loop being opposite its mate on the other long sheet. Then 50 clasps of gold were made to connect the loops, thus tying the 2 long sheets together to form the ceiling of the tabernacle. Above the ceiling was a second layer formed by 11 draperies made of goat's hair, uniformly 45 feet long and 6 feet wide. Bezalel coupled 5 of these draperies together to make one long piece, and 6 others to make another long piece. Then he made 50 loops along the end of each and 50 small bronze clasps to couple the loops so that the draperies were firmly attached to each other. The top layer of the roof was made of ram skins, dyed red, and tanned goat skins. For the sides of the tabernacle he used frames of acacia wood standing on end. The height of each frame was 15 feet and the width 2¼ feet. Each frame had 2 clasps joining it to the next. There were 20 frames on the south side, with the bottoms fitting into 40 silver bases. Each frame was connected to its base by 2 clasps. There were also 20 frames on the north side of the tabernacle, with 40 silver bases, 2 for each frame. The west side of the tabernacle, which was its rear, was made from 6 frames, plus another at each corner. These frames, including those at the corners, were linked to each other at both top and bottom by rings. So on the west side there were a total of 8 frames with 16 silver bases beneath them, 2 for each frame. Then he made 5 sets of bars from acacia wood to tie the frames together along the sides, 5 for each side of the tabernacle. The middle bar of the 5 was halfway up the frames, along each side, running from one end to the other. The frames and bars were all overlaid with gold, and the rings were pure gold. The blue, purple, and scarlet inner curtain was made from woven linen with guardian angels skillfully embroidered into it. The curtain was then attached to 4 gold hooks set into 4 posts of acacia wood, overlaid with gold and set into 4 silver bases. Then he made a drapery for the entrance to the tabernacle. It was woven from fine spun linen, embroidered with blue, purple, and scarlet. This drapery was connected by 5 hooks to 5 posts. The posts and their capitals and rods were overlaid with gold. Their 5 bases were molded from bronze. Next, Bezalel made the ark. This was constructed of acacia wood and was 3¾ feet long, 2¼ feet wide, and 2¼ feet high. It was plated with pure gold inside and out, and had a molding of gold all the way around the sides. There were 4 gold rings fastened into its 4 feet, 2 rings at each end. Then he made poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with gold, and put the poles into the rings at the sides of the ark to carry it. Then from pure gold he made a lid called the Place of Mercy. It was 3¾ feet long and 2¼ feet wide. He made 2 statues of guardian angels of beaten gold and placed them at the 2 ends of the gold lid. They were molded so that they were actually a part of the gold lid. It was all one piece. The guardian angels faced each other, with outstretched wings that overshadowed the Place of Mercy, looking down upon it. Then he made a table using acacia wood, 3 feet long, 1½ feet wide, and 2¼ feet high. It was overlaid with pure gold, with a molding that was gold all around the edge. A rim 4 inches high was constructed around the edges of the table, with a gold molding along the rim. Then he cast 4 rings of gold and placed them into the 4 table legs, close to the moldings, to hold the carrying poles in place. He made the carrying poles of acacia wood, covered with gold. Next, using pure gold, he made the bowls, flagons, dishes, and spoons to be placed upon this table. Then he made the lampstand, again using pure beaten gold. Its base, shaft, lamp holders, and decorations of almond flowers were all of one piece. The lampstand had 6 branches, 3 from each side. Each of the branches was decorated with identical carvings of blossoms. The main stem of the lampstand was similarly decorated with almond blossoms, a flower on the stem beneath each pair of branches, also a flower below the bottom pair and above the top pair, 4 in all. The decorations and branches were all one piece of pure, beaten gold. Then he made the 7 lamps at the ends of the branches, the snuffers and the ashtrays, all of pure gold. The entire lampstand weighed 107 pounds, all pure gold. The incense altar was made of acacia wood. It was 18 inches square and 3 feet high, with its corner horns made as part of the altar, so that it was all one piece. He overlaid it all with pure gold and ran a gold molding around the edge. 2 gold rings were placed on each side, beneath this molding, to hold the carrying poles. The carrying poles were gold-plated acacia wood. Then from sweet spices he made the sacred oil for anointing the priests, and the pure incense, using the techniques of the most skilled perfumers. The burnt offering altar was also constructed of acacia wood. It was 7½ feet square at the top and 4½ feet high. There were 4 horns at the 4 corners, all of one piece with the rest. This altar was overlaid with bronze. Then he made bronze utensils to be used with the altar, the pots, shovels, basins, meat hooks, and fire pans. Next he made a bronze grating that rested upon a ledge about halfway up in the firebox. 4 rings were cast for each side of the grating to insert the carrying poles. The carrying poles themselves were made of acacia wood, overlaid with bronze. The carrying poles were inserted into the rings at the side of the altar. The altar was hollow with plank siding. The bronze wash basin and its bronze pedestal were cast from the solid bronze mirrors donated by the women who assembled at the entrance to the tabernacle. Then he constructed the courtyard. The south wall was 100 feet long, 150 feet long. It consisted of drapes woven from fine twined linen thread. There were 20 posts to hold drapes with bases of bronze and the silver hooks and rods. The north wall was also 100 feet long, with 20 bronze posts and bases and with silver hooks and rods. The west side was 75 feet wide. The walls were made from drapes supported by 10 posts and bases, and with silver hooks and rods. The east side was also 75 feet wide. The drapes at either side of the entrance were 22.5 feet wide, each with 3 posts and 3 bases. All the drapes making up the walls of the court were woven of fine twined linen. Each post had a bronze base, and all the hooks and rods were silver. The tops of the posts were overlaid with silver, and the rods to hold up the drapes were solid silver. The drapery covering the entrance to the court was made of fine twined linen, beautifully embroidered with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. It was 30 feet long and 7.5 feet wide, just the same as the drapes composing the walls of the court. It was supported by 4 posts with 4 bronze bases and with silver hooks and rods. The tops of the posts were also silver. All the nails used in constructing the tabernacle and court were bronze. This summarizes the various steps in building the tabernacle to house the ark, so that the Levites could carry on their ministry. All was done in the order designated by Moses and was supervised by Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Bezalel, son of Uri, and grandson of Hur, and the tribe of Judah, was the master craftsman, assisted by Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. He too was a skilled craftsman, and also an expert at engraving, weaving, and at embroidering blue, purple, and scarlet threads into fine linen cloth. The people brought gifts of 3,140 pounds of gold, all of which was used throughout the tabernacle. The amount of silver used was 9,575 pounds, which came from the 50-cent head tax collected from all those registered in the census who were 20 years old or older, a total of 603,550 men. The bases for the frames of the sanctuary walls and for the posts supporting the veil required 9,500 pounds of silver, 95 pounds for each socket. The silver left over was used for the posts and to overlay their tops, and for the rods and hooks. The people brought 7,540 pounds of bronze, which was used for casting the bases for the posts at the entrance to the tabernacle, and for the bronze altar, the bronze grating, the altar utensils, the bases for the posts supporting the drapes and closing the court, and for all the nails used in the construction of the tabernacle and the court. This is part 1 of my reading. Thank you. This will continue into the next video. God bless you.